All right, someone else is on here with me. Except my computer's frozen. All right, I got two people on here with me. Who do I have? I think I see Andrew, and is that Isaac? All right, we got lots of people on here. This is way better than it was last week. All right. All right, so I don't have Kaz. I'm hoping he's going to be here. Can you guys all hear me okay?
I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Andrew. That was you, right?
That was me.
Okay, cool. And who else do I have on here? I've got Campbell. Campbell, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All righty, perfect. Isaac, you're there? Can you hear me? And what about, I'm trying to remember. Give me just 1 second.
Skylar.
Skylar, that's right. You've got you don't have your name and your email address, so it's.
I don't. Oh.
It just says it has your email address instead of your name, but that's cool.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine. It's totally fine. All right, cool, awesome. So this is way better, way more people than we have last week. Before we get started, I want to do a quick walkthrough with you guys on the Canvas Learning Management System. Some of you might have used Canvas before in the past. It might be new for some of you guys, and that's okay. But I want to do a quick walkthrough with you guys so you can see what I have going on and what I expect for you guys to be doing during the week. That was pretty good. All right, I got to give you credit. Give you that. That's pretty good. Okay, so I want to show you guys my screen real quickly that has Canvas open on it so you guys are aware. I sent through an email to each of you guys an invitation to join my Canvas class for this program. If you haven't gotten it, let me know. Send me an email, and I'll be happy to get back to you. But when you log on to Canvas, you get into it should be called a course called Economics for Real People. And this should be the screen that you see, right? And when you get in there, the easiest thing to do is each week I've put the courses together in modules. So when you click on the modules, it'll show you an outline of what we're going to be doing each week. And the idea here is these are things that you guys can do on your own, or you can work together with a friend on them. I'm okay with that. A lot of what we're doing is going to be like discussion type stuff. Some of it is even going to be having discussions with your family members, particularly with your parents. But the idea here is just come to the modules, and when you click on the module, it's going to open up, and you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff in here to do. Most of these things will take you 4 or 5 minutes to do. Honestly, when I put my class together, right now, at least for the first couple weeks, I anticipate that you would spend maybe an hour per week working on stuff for class. When we get into some of the more complex things, it'll take a little bit longer. Okay, but right now, it should take you maybe an hour to do all the work. Kaz, who's not on the call with us right now, is the only one so far that's actually turned in any assignments. And I can look and I can see that Kaz, you guys probably can't see this. Well, I've shown you right now. So Kaz spent a total of 34 minutes on Canvas. You guys can see that right there. Kaz spent a total of 34 minutes on Canvas so far, and he's been able to get all the assignments done and turned in. Okay. So just make sure that you log on to Canvas. You'll see by looking right now that my Module 1 is full of stuff. Module 2 has one thing in it. And as soon as we finish up here, I'm going to put a ton of stuff in Module 2. A lot of it's going to be short videos to watch. Some of it will be discussion questions. Some of it will be little assignments that I want you guys to do. But the idea here is that just jump into Canvas anytime between now and next class period, which would be next Tuesday, and get all of the assignments for Module 2 done, which would be the incentives versus intentions. Okay. And this is something that we're going to come back and revisit often, because this is like one of the most important lessons you can learn in economics. Okay. And because some of you guys weren't here last week, I want to do a quick review just to kind of sum up what we talked about last week. All right. So here's the idea: is that economics is not about money. Economics is not about business. Economics is about so much more than that. Most specifically, oops, let me go back to me. Economics is about far more than just money. Economics is all about, sorry, I'm going to mute you real quick. All right. So economics is all about choices, all about human action, all about why people do the things that they do. And it starts with the idea that people want stuff. You guys want things. You want things that you can't have sometimes. A lot of times we want things that that are outside of our reach. You know, I want a really, really nice car, but I don't know how to build a really, really nice car. And that's the idea that there's not enough resources on this planet to satisfy all of our needs and wants at the same time. That's a concept that economists call scarcity, that resources are scarce, okay? And part of that is, even if you think there's enough stuff on the entire planet to go around, you know, so for example, can this planet produce enough food to feed everyone on the planet? And the answer is yes, it absolutely can. It absolutely can. So why do people go to bed hungry all the time? So I'm going to see if I can... I want to see if I can unmute some of you guys. Maybe I can't. Hold on. Okay. You guys can also, if you're on Google Hangouts, you should also be able to use the chat box. Just go to the left side of your window and go up to the top, and you'll see the chat box. If you click on that, it essentially opens up a little chat window. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. So if you don't want to, if you want to stay muted or whatever, I had to mute one of you because it was getting kind of loud in my headphones. But this way you can say stuff if you need to mute. I know, guys. Sorry.
I don't know there was. Weird.
Who cares? It doesn't matter. Okay. All right. So you guys want stuff. Sometimes you can't have stuff, or you want more stuff, or you want better stuff, and sometimes you can't get it. And it's scarce. But it's more than just the idea that because you can't get it, it's scarce. So we said, is there enough food to feed everyone on the planet? Yeah. So why is it that people go to bed hungry? What do you guys think? Just type your answer in the little chat box down at the bottom. And if you're sharing a computer, don't worry.
I'm gonna.
Okay, so some people might take more food than they need. We know that a lot of food goes to waste. Some people also say, hey, that's not my food, so I'm not going to take it. Ultimately, what causes people to be hungry, to starve, even though there is food for them, is distribution problems. It's getting the food to the right place at the right time. And we see that all the time. So even me, I'm hungry right now. In fact, you know what? I drink a lot of soda pop. I know it's bad for me, but I do, okay? But this right here is one of the best teaching tools that I have. And it's, can you hear that? Can you hear the ice? That means it's empty. That means I don't have any Dr. Pepper right now, okay? Now, is that the end of the world? No, it's a simple distribution problem. I don't have Dr. Pepper right here where I want it, when I want it to be here. Could I do something about that? Sure. Okay. But that requires action on my part. And that's what the economy is all about, human action. The way that people try to satisfy their needs and their wants. Okay? And because now I have to choose, oh man, I got to choose. So do I sit here and finish class with you guys, or do I run down to Circle K and refill my Polar Pop right now? So I've got a choice to make, right? Because we all have choices. But the choice has trade-offs. If I choose to just, walk out and go to Circle K right now, what do you guys think might be some of the consequences of that?
We won't judge you.
Thanks, I appreciate it. But are you going to make sure to show up on time for the next class, or are you going to say, nah, Mr. Bogle is probably going off to get his Dr. Pepper. He's not ready for class yet, right? Yeah. So there's consequences, and I can choose the options that I have, but I can't always choose the consequences, right? I'm sure your parents have told you that. Well, you made this choice and you chose these consequences. Well, yeah, but maybe you didn't know what all the consequences were going to be. Maybe you didn't know you were going to get in trouble. Maybe you didn't know that you were going to have your phone taken away or whatever trouble you're getting in for doing whatever it is that you did. That doesn't mean the consequences aren't there, and it doesn't mean the consequences aren't valid. It just means that you made your decision without knowing what the consequences are. Okay? And for every choice that we make, we have to give up something. So last week I talked with Kaz a little bit and Andrew about sleeping in, about how they had to choose to get out of bed in the morning and go to class, and what would happen if they chose to not get out of bed in the morning and not go to class, right? Well, then they would have been giving something up. And every time you choose option A and give up option B, well, that means that there's a cost associated with that option, okay? And this is a pretty good way to transfer us into what I want to talk with you guys about this week. I want to share a short video, and this is actually one of your assignments in here. I'm going to share a short video with you guys from Professor Art Carden, who is a professor at Samford University in Alabama. And this is a program that he's worked with called Learn Liberty. And they put together a lot of really short, cool videos on economics. You'll see that I use a lot of them. I use a lot of them in my classroom. I'm going to use a lot of them with this program. But they also have a really cool way. I'll put it on the Canvas page. But they have a cool way that you guys can earn points and get cool free prizes by watching videos. And they're videos that are going to help you understand economics better, right? So let's watch a short video real quick, and I think we should be able to watch it together. Can you guys all see this? Professor Carden, Economics on One Foot, in a YouTube video inside your window. You're not seeing it?
No. Where would it be?
So when you look at the Google Hangouts screen right now, what do you see? Do you just see me talking still?
Yeah, well, on the left there's like camera, chat, YouTube.
Okay, click the YouTube link,
All right.
and you should see YouTube video "Economics on 1 Foot" by Learn Liberty. Did you guys see that?
Let's see.
Or what if I play it?
Oh wait, economies on foot. One
Yeah.
foot.
Economics on 1 Foot. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Josh,
gonna watch
watch
it. Well, we're gonna watch it together real quickly, right? So I'm gonna hit play, and I think that should play it for all of us.
Okay.
Right.
And if it doesn't, we'll just press play too, I guess.
If it doesn't, just let me play it through on my side, and I'll talk to you guys about it in a little bit, okay? All right. Were you guys able to see it?
Yeah.
Andrew, could you eventually see it?
Uh-oh.
No? Okay,
How do I unmute him?
that's all right. The link is on the Canvas page, so if you open it up in Canvas, you'll be able to see it. Okay, I'm going to switch out of YouTube and no. All right.
I have Andrew muted.
That's all right. Okay, so you guys can all see me again now?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, click.
You-
You have to click your name to see you again.
Can you guys see me again? All right. It should be as long as you guys mute yourselves. You can look at your controls up in the top center of your screen. Mute the microphone. Yeah, you're good to go. Okay. And if you want to say something, you want to jump in at any time and say something, feel free to do so. All right? So here's the big thing that I want you guys to get from this, is that people are going to act not in terms of something that is ultimately important to everyone, but what's important to them. Okay? So people change their behavior based on the incentives that are in place to get them to act a certain way. So back to my example right here. Okay, Polar Pop. This is subjective value. I value this resource, but I don't value it because it has value in itself. I value it because it's something that I get from it. I assign value to anything that exists. Okay. Do you guys all like drinking soda? Now, do your parents like you drinking soda all the time? My guess is probably not. So the difference is that you drinking soda doesn't have the same amount of value to you as it does to your parents, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Some of you guys like sports. Some of you guys like acting or performance. Some of you guys are very musical. But you guys have different interests and different things that attract your attention. And you're going to try to do things differently in order to get what you want. Okay? So when I change my behavior based on the incentives, it's not the idea that I'm incentivized by what someone else says I should like. I'm incentivized by what I like. So a long time ago, before I became a teacher, I don't know if you guys can see, this is my computer classroom, but my computers are that way, the wall of my computer classroom, because I'm a high school teacher. I teach this stuff all the time. But before I became a teacher, I actually had a job making a lot of money working at UPS. And I quit that job and I became a teacher. And I make a lot less money now than I did before working at UPS. And so people look at it and they go, but that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do something that pays less than what you did before? And because they look at the only incentive as money. And the reality is that money is not the only incentive. What are some things that you guys, maybe, I'm trying to think. If you, let me ask this question a different way. What do your parents have to do to get you to do a chore that you really don't want to do?
Pay me.
Okay. So,
Or not
Skylar,
punish me.
so yeah. So you're motivated by money, right? Or sometimes you're motivated by the absence of a punishment. Okay. Maybe you've got one of these, and your parents let you hang on to it as long as all your chores are done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you're not allowed to play on. You're not allowed to play Minecraft until you've got all your schoolwork done or all your chores done, right? So that's the idea. Is we use incentives to get people to change their behavior. Now, does that mean that I can just buy people's friendship or buy people's love and just pay people to do whatever I want them to do for me?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so this is kind of a sidestep that I want you guys to be aware of, is that economics in and of itself is an amoral science. That means that it doesn't take people's beliefs of what is right or wrong into account all the time. It doesn't mean it's immoral. It doesn't mean it tells you to do things that are bad, but it also doesn't necessarily tell you what's the right thing to do all the time. It just tells you the way humans make their decisions on how to act. So we might say, well, it doesn't mean I can pay people to do whatever I want them to do. But let's be realistic. I mean, do you know people that have jobs that they don't like to do? And why do they do those jobs?
For money.
Yeah, they do them for the money. because the incentive is there for the money. Sometimes it's not just the money that they make. Sometimes there's other incentives as well. Sometimes they get really good medical benefits at their work. And so they go to a job that they really don't like, making money that they really don't think is worth it because they want the medical benefits. Okay. So here I am. I'm a teacher. What do you think incentivizes me to be a teacher making less money than I was making at UPS?
You like to teach people?
Yeah, a lot of it is just that I'm really passionate about economics. Imagine that I wanted to give a lecture on economics to a UPS driver who's trying to deliver packages. Do you think he wants to listen to me? Yeah, he probably doesn't want. Yeah, he doesn't want to listen to me. And especially when I try and tell him about how the union is not really a very helpful thing for him. Yeah, he really doesn't want to hear that. Okay, but we'll talk about that in later weeks. So here's the question: is if I'm going to choose between two, or if I'm going to choose an incentive, how do I make that decision? And the question is, we use a tool called marginal analysis. Okay, and with marginal analysis, what I'm looking at is what is it going to cost me to get this? So here's what we're looking at here. Okay, if I'm going to go get a Polar Pop, and I don't know if you guys have Circle K around where you're at. I don't think you do. I think it's just down here in Arizona.
You live in Arizona?
But if I go to Circle K, yeah, I'm in Tempe, Arizona right now.
Oh, that's weird. Because I was actually curious where you got a Polar Pop. We have nothing called that.
Yeah, so I'm in Tempe, Arizona, and I got this at the Circle K. Okay, Circle K is the business, and it's 44 ounces of liquid gold for 85 cents after taxes. Okay, so now here's the trick question. What does this cost me? What's the real cost? Is it the 85 cents that I paid for it? See? Not even liver failure. It's probably going to be senior onset diabetes. Okay. But the real cost of buying this is not giving up the 85 cents. It's everything else that I could have done with that 85 cents. What are some other things that I could have done with the 85 cents?
Let's see. 85 cents. You could have donated it to charity?
Yeah, I could have donated it to kids with liver failure, right? I could have donated it to some charity and done something positive. But for me, I looked at the cost of adding one additional item. That's the idea of marginal analysis. It's doing things one additional step at a time. And I looked and I said, the marginal benefit of adding 85 cents, of spending 85 cents on a Polar Pop, and the satisfaction that that gives me, and I compare that to the marginal cost of, because I'm spending 85 cents on this, I'm not giving that 85 cents to the kids with liver failure, and I compare those two things, and I go, are the kids with liver failure really going to notice my 85 cents? Probably not. But am I really going to notice having a full Polar Pop? Yes, I am. Okay. What we call marginal cost versus the marginal benefit. And as long as the marginal benefit outweighs the marginal cost, meaning the benefit of doing one thing is going to outweigh the cost of doing one thing, then I'm going to choose to do that. So here's the age-old conundrum that economists often use as an example. And when you look at what's the absolute value of water, what is water good for on this planet?
Keeping you alive.
Okay, if it weren't for water, I would be dead. You would be dead. All the plants, all the animals, we all would be dead. Okay? Practicing cello. Okay. But without, what's so water seems to be a pretty important resource. What about diamonds? What good are diamonds?
They look pretty, and I guess they can cut through a lot of stuff.
Okay, so here we've got a bottle of water that is life-sustaining, and I've got a little half-ounce or half-carat diamond. And we see, okay, well, water helps us to sustain life, and the diamond, it might look pretty, but that's about all it does. But which one is more valuable?
The diamond.
Yeah, and even to you,
Price-wise, the diamond.
okay, so even to you, who my guess is most of you don't walk around wearing diamond rings, right?
I wish.
But if I gave you a choice and I said, here's a real diamond or here's a bottle of water, which would you take?
The diamond.
Okay, raise your hand if you take the diamond. Come on, raise your hand if you take the diamond. All right. Okay. But why? Is the value of the diamond just absolutely more valuable than the bottle of water?
Well, it depends on if somebody just offered you like a water bottle or a diamond. I'd take the diamond because I can get water at home or anywhere else. But if it was like stuck in the desert and I was like a water bottle or a diamond, I'd take the water.
Okay, so based on your changing values, your own subjective value, you might pick and choose something different. But let's just say right now I go to hand you a water bottle or a diamond, and every single one of you said you would take the diamond. Okay, because if I add one more water bottle to what you own, does that have a very big impact on your life? No, not really. But what if I add one more water bottle? Or I'm sorry, what if I add one more diamond to the things that you own?
And I could buy a lot of water bottles.
You could trade that in and buy a lot of water bottles. Now, that's not where the actual value comes in, though, because other people have that same preference, which means that I'm not just going to give you a water bottle or give you a diamond. Both of those things come with a cost. So if I tried to sell you a water bottle for $1, you might buy it. If I try to sell you a diamond for $1, and it's a real diamond, verifiably real diamond, chances are that you'd buy it. But what if I tried to sell you a diamond for $1,000?
I'd probably buy the water bottle.
Well, let's look at this. So, does owning a diamond actually add $1,000 worth of value to your life? Are you willing to give up $1,000 to get that diamond?
Maybe if like in the future it's worth a lot more, but right then it wouldn't really affect you. Besides the fact that you're losing $1,000 for a rock.
And my guess is that most of you don't just have $1,000 to spend on diamonds sitting around the house, right? At least you don't. So if a bottle of water is going to cost me $1 and it gives me some satisfaction, especially if I'm in the middle of the desert, I'm more likely to buy that. If a diamond is going to give me, add $1,000 worth of value to my life, then it would be worth it to buy it because the marginal cost of $1,000 is equal to the marginal benefit of $1,000. Okay. Now we're gonna do an experiment. Okay. So what I want you guys to do. Can you hear me? You can all hear me. Okay. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is close your eyes real quick. Close your eyes. You don't have to cover them. Okay, but close your eyes. And I've got an ice cream cone, and I'm going to hand you an ice cream cone, and what I want you to do is reach out and hold that ice cream cone. So I've handed you an ice cream cone, reach out and hold the ice cream cone. Okay. How happy are you guys right now?
Not very happy.
Not very happy. I just gave you a
Not
freaking ice
very.
cream cone.
Yeah, that's a great thing. That's a great thing.
Okay, fine. I'm way happy.
Okay. Now what if I gave you another ice cream cone? Close your eyes and now you're holding 2 ice cream cones, right?
Now my heart's overwhelmed.
You're overwhelmed with joy and satisfaction. Now, hold on. Hey, close your eyes.
Okay, well,
Hold those ice cream cones. Okay. Now, I'm going to give another ice cream cone. Reach out and grab the 3rd ice cream cone. And now I'm going to give you a 4th ice cream cone. Reach out and grab that 4th ice cream cone. Now a 5th one, and a 6th one, and a 7th, and an 8th. Now, how satisfied are you?
very.
It's really a lot.
Hold on a second. I just handed you 8 ice cream cones, and you're super excited, right? No, you're probably yelling at me, Bogle, stop! I can't handle all this ice cream. I can't handle this delicious chocolatey goodness. Right?
Well, it depends how fast I ate them.
Okay.
You're handing them to me.
But I did it rapid fire, just like that. Now close your eyes, and I'm going to hand you diamonds one at a time. Close your eyes. Okay. Right. Hold out your hand so I can put a diamond in it. Okay. And I'm going to drop a diamond in your hand. How happy are you?
Very.
Ecstatic, right? Now I'm going to drop a 2nd diamond, and a 3rd diamond, and a 4th diamond. Okay. Are you telling me to stop dropping diamonds in your hand yet?
No.
Are you mad at me yet? What about a
No.
6th, a 5th, and a 6th, and a 7th, and an 8th diamond? Okay. Why not? Why aren't you telling me to stop putting diamonds in your hands?
Because it's something worth a lot and it's going to benefit me.
Not only that, but what was when I have you trying to hold 8 ice cream cones, right?
There was too
It's
much.
ridiculous. You no longer value the holding of an ice cream cone. But if you're able to hold all those diamonds in the palm of your hand, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it really costing you any more to hold those ice cream cones or to hold those diamonds?
No.
There's no additional cost to holding that. So you say, yeah, keep bringing them on, bring them on. Okay. Now, who has a favorite food that they want to share with us?
Pizza.
Sweet, pizza. Okay. So Andrew, when you're eating pizza, how many pieces of pizza do you usually eat?
3.
Okay, 3, maybe 4 if you're super hungry, right?
Maybe even 5.
Oh, if it's a small pizza, right? Okay, or if they got like the good dipping sauce.
That would be awesome.
Love it. Love it. Okay. But so do you sit down and you say, I am hungry for 5 pieces of pizza?
No. I just eat until
So
I'm full.
Okay. So you might eat 1 piece of pizza and you go, that was good. I'm satisfied. I want another one. And you're going to eat another piece of pizza. And then you might say, that one was even better, or I'm still more satisfied. I want another piece of pizza. and you're going to keep eating pizza until, and this is what I want to hopefully show you guys, okay, until the marginal cost becomes greater than the marginal benefit. So what's the benefit of eating pizza? Anyone? What's the benefit of eating pizza?
Because it tastes good.
Okay. Is this backwards to you guys, or can you see it?
We can see it.
Okay, but is it backwards, or does it say MC is greater than MB?
Oh,
Yeah, it's good.
MB is
Okay,
greater than.
okay.
What?
No,
MB is-
MC is greater than
See,
MB.
look.
Okay.
Okay.
So here we go. So what's the benefit of eating pizza is that it tastes good and it satisfies your hunger, right? What's the cost of eating pizza?
Money, and then it's not
Okay.
super healthy for you.
Yeah, so there's the health issue, there's the money issue, maybe it's too expensive to buy another piece of pizza, or if you've already got, you had to buy a full pizza, you've got 8 pieces sitting there, maybe it's going to give you a stomach ache if you eat too many slices of pizza. So when each piece of pizza stops adding more benefit than it adds cost, that's when you'll stop eating pizza. Okay? And this is how we calculate our incentives. Now, is there some magic number out there that says that this is the marginal cost of eating pizza, or some magic number for everyone that says this marginal benefit of eating pizza? No, there's nothing like that. Okay? It's because the cost and the benefit come from whatever you assign them inside your head. Now, this is something where you get into some psychology, and economics doesn't concern itself with psychology. Psychology says that, or psychology will study why you value certain things above another. Economics just says, okay, you value some things above another, and we can look at that to determine your behavior in certain situations. Okay. So I want to look at and compare for you guys the idea. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to do text because I can type. Okay. I want to compare incentives compare incentives to intentions. All right. So what are incentives? Incentives are things that we put in place to get people to do things. Or sometimes incentives come from inside. Those are what we call intrinsic incentives, okay, or internal incentives. So earlier we talked about your parents giving you cookies, Minecraft, paying you in money to get your chores done or to do extra work around the house. And those are incentives. Okay, we try and give people incentives to get them to do more things. Or we know that people will do more of things or do something more often when the incentive is there. Okay. But intentions are a little bit different. And a lot of times people do things that have good intentions, but it creates bad incentives. Okay. So let's look at an example that we'll actually look at later on. When we get into our pricing model and we talk about how prices function in a market economy. But let's talk about this real quickly. Okay. So there's an old saying that says that you, well, let me try and type this up. You tax something if you want less of it, and then you subsidize something if you want more of it. Whoa, not subsidize. And subsidize something if you want more of it. All right? I know, you guys can see that twice. That's all right. So what are some things that we subsidize? Like, what are some things that the government pays for? And don't think that the government is the only way that people subsidize things. But let's just use this as an example. So what are some things that the government spends money on because they want more of it? So let's look
maybe things for the army.
So the government will spend money to subsidize defense, national defense, because they want more national defense, right? And then they tax what you want less of. Both of these things are incentives. A negative incentive in terms of taxing things, making you pay for stuff, and then a positive incentive in terms of giving more money to something. Okay? So if we subsidize things that we want, like, you know, the government wants more fuel-efficient cars. Okay, so this is something they did in Arizona a few years ago. They wanted people to be driving around in more fuel-efficient cars. And so they actually put in place a subsidy, meaning they would pay you money, they would give you money to buy a car that ran on alternative fuels. And you could apply that subsidy to the price of the car, meaning that your car was cheaper. It's the same thing with solar energy, solar electricity. They subsidize solar electricity because they want people to do more of it. And then they put a tax on things that they want people to do less of. So hold on a second. Does that mean that when we put a tax on your income, how do you earn income?
By working.
Yeah, you work. And when you work, what do you have to pay?
Your time.
Well, yeah, you're giving time.
And just energy and time.
Anytime you work, you pay income taxes, right? Anytime you have money from income, you pay an income tax. So hold on a second. If the government wants, or if the government taxes things that they want less of, but we tax the work that you do, we tax your income, what kind of incentives does that create? Does that incentivize people to do more work or less work? What do you guys think?
Less work.
So let me give you another example. Yeah, essentially it's the idea that it incentivizes people to do less work. Why? Because they get to take home less of their money. Okay. Now, is that their intention? Is the intention to say, we want people to stop working? Well, no, that's not the intention at all. But that's the incentive that it creates. Okay? And there's a lot of times when people will put together economic policies, both like macro, doing it on the whole economy, the whole country. They'll put together an economic policy, and they'll have good intentions, but it creates negative consequences, unintended consequences. Okay, so here's a analogy from basketball. How many of you guys are basketball fans, or you like watching basketball? Anyone? Basketball? I'm not a huge basketball fan, but this is one of my favorite examples. Okay. So I don't know if they ever actually made this a rule or not, but a few years ago, the NBA considered making a new rule that said that people who were fouled, but they weren't like really fouled hard, and they would just like flop themselves on the ground to make it look like they were fouled hard, that if you did that, you were going to get called for a technical foul. The problem is the NBA itself created the incentive for people to start flopping on the ground. How did the NBA create an incentive for players to flop themselves down on the ground? What do you think they did?
Just because the coaches, because it benefits them, I guess, in the game, that if they get fouled, they're going to get the shoot for free, or just it kind of benefited them to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So they say, okay, well, you've got a penalty that you created called charging, right? And if I'm a defensive player and I can make it look like the offensive player charged into me and get a foul called on him, if he made a basket, does that count? If he made a basket while charging me, that basket doesn't count. Not only that, but now who gets the ball? My team gets the ball. Okay, so you created some incentives for defensive players to try to attract a foul from an offensive player. And so now the NBA, by creating a rule, why did they create the charging foul to begin with? Anyone know? Anyone know? Okay. So the idea was, if I was an offensive player and I'm going to the hoop to make a basket, and a defensive player touches me, what happens? I'm on offense. I'm shooting the basket. A defensive player touches me. Yeah. Free throws. I get to shoot free throws. So there was an incentive in place for me as the offensive player to try to get hit by the defensive player so that I could try and make the basket and get to shoot an extra point, the +1, right? So they'd created a rule that incentivized offensive players running into defensive players. So now they had to create a new rule, because that rule created incentives. They had to create the charging rule to counter the incentives of their old rule. And so now this new rule, the charging rule, gives incentives for defensive players to flop on the ground anytime an offensive player shoots a basket in front of them to make it look like they were charged. And so now they have to create a new rule to counteract the incentives of their old rule that tried to counteract the incentives of their old rule. And do you think the NBA wanted any of this? Do you think the NBA just wants there to be a million rules that their players have to follow? No, probably not. But this is an important thing when we're looking at the incentives that are created in versus the intention, or what they intended for them to do. Okay, and that's a lot. That's a big deal, because a lot of people will look at the intentions of an economic policy, but pay little regard to the incentives that it actually creates. Okay, so I have the intention of helping you guys learn better economics. And so by doing that with those intentions in mind, Now I've got to make sure that my incentives don't bore you to death. So if you get on here once a week and you go, oh, Bogle's so boring, the economics class, I hate it, it's so... Is that going to help you learn economics? No, of course not. So my intention is to make economics important and valuable to you, but also to make it fun. So we're going to wrap up here in just a little bit. Do any of you guys have any questions based on either the idea of incentives or any of the assignments, or even Canvas at all from last week, or how to get on Canvas? If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions you have right now. No one? No questions? Cool. All right. Then here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to get onto Canvas today if you can. If you've got something else going on right now, don't worry about it, but get onto Canvas today or tomorrow. If you don't have the link, okay, if you don't have the link to get onto Canvas, here's what I want you to do. I want you to email me. Email me. There's my email right there. I want you to send me an email to say, hey, I didn't get the link to join up for Canvas. And I'll email the information to you, and then that way you can log on, you can get the class, or you can get onto the class and you can get into the Canvas program. Before next Tuesday, I need you guys to get all the stuff from Module 1 done, and all the stuff that I'm about to put in Module 2. I need you guys to get all that done as well. All right? And then next week we'll get started on Module number 3. All right? Any questions, guys? Cool. Then we'll wrap up a little bit early. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, hi-mr.bogle@gmail.com. You can also send me a text message. I'll throw my cell phone up here. That's my cell phone number. I prefer to communicate through email and text message. It's just easier for me that way. This contact information, I emailed it to your parents yesterday, so hopefully we're good to go. This has been recorded, so if you missed it or I guess you guys are all here, so you didn't miss it. But for those people who weren't in class, they can watch it. Or if you're not sure you really understood something and you want to watch it again, it should be recorded, and I'll post the link to the YouTube video for this class on our Canvas page. And if that's it, then I'll see you guys next week. All right? Thanks, guys.